Live from New York, it's the show that's using part of the show budget on people's personal wardrobe.
People's person.
It's the first hour of First Things First. We start with the Ravens running wild. Derrick Henry starts the game off with an 87-yard run, and the Ravens never looked back. Almost 200 on the day for him. Caught a TD too. Lamar had 3 total touchdowns. Brew, did Baltimore prove they're the real deal?
Does this answer your question?
Wow, that's felt silly asking.
Does this answer your question? I have waited 4 weeks. 4 weeks. This was supposed to happen against the Chiefs. I've waited 4 weeks to put on the sunglasses, the Versace robe that I'm sure Nick wishes he never bought me, and of course, the Ravens-inspired Jordan 12s.
Yeah.
All right, and finally it is here because, yes, the Ravens are back. Yes, the Ravens are the real deal. And all of this means, Wilds, that the Ravens invited the Bills over to their house for a game of tackle football in the backyard. Winner got to gloat. Loser had to make lunch for the winner. And you know what that means.
What did they make?
They made him a sandwich, some potato chips, and a soda pop.
We're back to normal-sized sandwich.
Yeah, thank God.
Soda pop.
This is early. It's only week 4.
Yeah.
So it's just a regular sandwich.
We're just, can I say, now,
What?
Who's going to eat that afterwards? These bits are now just becoming your day.
Right. And
I'm going to bring it home and eat it for dinner while I watch the game tonight.
I heard when I was walking upstairs today and Brew was in his cubby, I heard him being like, and make sure they tell them no mayo. And I'm like, wait, that doesn't matter for the bit. And it's just because it's how he wants the sandwich made. But that's
the best thing is I get these sneakers.
Fantastic. I think Brew should get to enjoy this.
Of course.
Because you said 4 weeks, but not being a smart aleck here, it's longer. Because you were ready for the purple Jordans.
Oh, gosh.
5 Ravens games ago, the AFC Championship game. And then you thought we were going to get it in week 1. Week 2, you wouldn't have broke it out because it was the Raiders. And then week 3, I know you were there crushing the Cowboys on the road. This would have made more sense.
Fell back a little bit.
And so it's not only that they beat a really good team, a team that some people foolishly had atop their facile power rankings, but I think everyone had in the top 3. But it's also, and I'll give it right back to you on this, Brew, they won playing the exact way you would prefer everyone play football. Tough-nosed defense, running the ball, and because of that, and because I'm happy for you, a rare banner that is not Chiefs related.
I don't trust it.
Oh, it is. The return of the back. With Derrick Henry and Chris Broussard. Because this is, when they signed Derrick Henry, this is what you saw coming. That they would just punch people in the mouth. And they did it really for the first time all year offensively and defensively, where they looked like you kind of, in your mind's eye, the Ravens defense is supposed to look. And they looked, to me, like they were last year, the clear-cut second-best team in the conference. And we'll talk Chiefs later, but like that, to me, the Bills had that title, and they whooped the Bills that badly that you have, even though the Bills have a better record, you have to now elevate, at least for the time being, the Ravens ahead of Baltimore.
Well, you and I talked about it off the air, after the first game when they lost to the Chiefs, and we said, these look like the 2 best teams in the league.
Yes.
Not just the AFC, but the league, and Baltimore starting to show that. Look, I thought I was surprised early in the season how bad the defense looked, because that's their culture. Like under John Harbaugh, they are, whoever the defensive coordinator is, they are always generally a top 10, top 5, top 3 defense. And yesterday they showed some signs really for the first time outside of the early quarters against the Cowboys. Offensively, I just say this to John Harbaugh and Todd Monken. Stay here. This is who you are. Run the football, whether it's the first quarter, the fourth quarter, whether it's the Bengals or the Chiefs, whether it's October or January or maybe February. Run the football, and Lamar is throwing it well. He's not throwing it a lot,
right?
But his
20 times a
accuracy,
game.
I think the last 2 games, Dallas and Buffalo, 137 passer rating, like 77% completion. Like, he's putting it where it needs to be, and because they run it so much, and they got the best power runner in the league and the most dynamic runner in Lamar in the league, the pass is going to be there because you have to worry so much about the run. So, yeah, this is who they should be for the rest of the season, and obviously you're just getting ready if you match up with the Chiefs in the playoffs.
Derrick Henry, bye week, 46 against the Chiefs, 84 against the Raiders, 151 against the Cowboys, 199 against the Bills. The averages went from 3.5 yards a carry to 8.3. Most yards, most 20-yard runs. Tied for with 5 TDs. You were kind of a Derrick Henry skeptic.
Why don't you do the voice I heard you doing in your prep in the office?
Honestly,
Wilds prepares in a conference room right across from where I do my work, because Wilds
there's a mirror in there.
Honestly, I don't know why Wilds still
really
does it,
mad,
but he goes through his whole script aloud.
Yeah,
I don't know if he's in there by himself or someone,
and
every once in a while I hear him doing that like nerdy voice, and I'm like, oh, he's mocking me, but I'm hearing him practice the mock.
I'm just saying that.
Go ahead.
If you think that's an impression of you,
okay,
then that's your own.
Okay, so what was
it? Derrick Henry. He can't. Well, when you look at the numbers from running backs that carried the ball that many times, you'll see a downward trajectory, Wilds. When you look at a guy who's 34 years old on the wrong side of 33.
But instead, I tried to say you were a skeptic, and now he's being the old Derrick Henry. But do you think it's?
I mean, I'm nervous about as you mock me all you want, 30-plus-year-old running back. Certainly someone with the tread on his tires. With that said, he ran 0.1 miles per hour slower on his touchdown than Xavier Worthy did on his. Xavier Worthy.
That's crazy.
Wow.
And so the next gen had it. Like Xavier was like 22.2 and he was 22.1, something like that. And so the other thing that's happening right now with Derrick Henry narratively is people, and I think this is a little too hyperbolic, but I get where they're going. They're saying, is Derrick Henry going to be the last running back to make the Hall of Fame? The idea being that no one else is going to have the longevity or the career. And I don't know, that's a better podcast discussion than TV discussion. But the reason I bring it up is he has been a historical outlier already. He might continue to be. And I don't want to rain on the Ravens parade. I said going into the game, this was the game of the year in the NFL up to this point. And the Ravens made it not the game of the year because they took such great control early. If I were to say concerns about Baltimore, I don't have as much faith in their passing game or their passing defense as I think Brew does. And I think that a game like this that allows them to play on their terms and they stick to the script, they look like a juggernaut, you know what I mean? If it had gone a little differently early, I don't know. But Derrick Henry, that 87-yard touchdown should not have been an 87-yard touchdown for basically any other running back in the league. Like, you know what I mean? The size and the speed and his ability to maintain that speed all the way down the sideline was remarkable. And so, I mean, am I still a little worried about, when you look at the numbers and the 1,200 carry? I am. But
there have been, a lot of the great, Adrian Peterson, Eric Dickerson, Emmitt Smith. I'm going way back, Walter. But guys,
that's the category he's in.
Right,
and Adrian Peterson is the contemporary comp. And he, in his early 30s, like 33, I think, had like a 1,400-yard season. So it's not impossible, that's for sure.
Other side of the ball, the Bills, who never get blown out, got blown out. They had gone 43 games without a loss by 6 or more. They lost by 25. Josh Allen completed 16 passes, no touchdowns. Did the Bills get exposed?
No, I don't think they got exposed. And I'll go, listen, I am more optimistic about this Bills team than I have been most Bills teams, and by most I mean any. So glass half full is they did avoid the dreaded September champs label. Like, had they won that game, there's no banner coming for that because they're not the September champs, and they've been that a number of times.
Right.
And so they avoided that. And I have 3 concerns for Buffalo. And by the way, that's not a large number compared to the rest of the league. It's just what it is. Number 1 is this. We said, oh, man, Joe Brady, this new offense, this is the way to do it. I need a larger sample because we saw the offense look really good against the number 30, number 29, and number 23 scoring defenses. And, listen, Arizona is a better team than maybe we thought, even though now they're 1-3, but that's because of their offense. Miami's offense. Jacksonville's bad at everything. So there's that. The second one is, I do wonder that just like a couple years ago, the kind of football nerd term du jour was everything was an RPO. You got to watch these RPOs. This year, I've sniffed it out. It's spine of the defense.
Oh.
I've watched football for 30 years. I've never heard people talking about spine of the defense. Now it's everywhere. And they're like that. The Bills' spine of the defense, that a power running team is going to be able to expose them as we saw it. And the last one is Sean McDermott gets a little tight. And you saw it. This is not a play the result. But on the first drive of the game, it was 0-0. He had a 4th and 1 on his own 39, and he went for it.
Right.
On the third drive of the game, he was down 14-3. He had a 4th and 1 on his own 39. Same yardage, same position of the field. What's changed is you're now trailing, and he's like, punt the ball.
Yeah.
And I just worry, you know what I mean? So it's not the Josh Allen roller coaster, which, I mean, since I said it, I guess we got to show it to you. It did come down as expected, but it couldn't stay that high for that long. It's those things. I still think they're an excellent team. Excellent might be strong. I don't know how many excellent teams there are. A really good team. But I do think those are the things that worry me about them, Bruce.
I think McDermott just historically has made some coaching errors. I mean, even the 13-second game where he doesn't squib it.
Yes,
So
sure.
I didn't mind the 4th down discrepancies because I don't feel like it should be like we always go for it on 4th or we never go for it on 4th. To me, it's all situational. So I don't mind that. But to me, the Bills were not exposed. But who was exposed was the media that was saying they were the best team in the league. They were the leading contender, should be the favorites for the Super Bowl in the AFC. Now, I said they were playing the best after 3 weeks, but I never said they were the best team in the league. But everybody was jumping on the bandwagon. And to Nick's point, they've beaten 3 teams with a combined record of 2-9. All right, now I know Arizona can score and,
Yeah, Arizona's kind of coming
Arizona's
back to earth.
come back
they've
down
come back to earth.
Jacksonville never took off.
Right.
And Miami's only win is against Jacksonville. So one of their opponents
Even
had to
with
win.
Tua, he played most of that game.
Yeah.
They still are questionable because they're soft. The Bills are what I thought they were. Like last night they showed me, and I was starting to think, oh, maybe they're better than I thought they were going to be. But they are really what I thought they were, which is a playoff team, a good team, but not a Super Bowl contender. Obviously, Kansas City's better. I think Baltimore's better. And if they get into the tournament, I think Cincinnati is. I'm serious. If they get in, like this is a good team that has no chance of winning the AFC. They're tough. They're hard-nosed, but they're not as tough and hard-nosed as Baltimore. All right, their defense is good.
I know,
but it's not great.
I just said the Cincinnati thing set me off. They beat the Panthers.
Wilds is anti-Cincinnati.
We gonna get to the
They
Bengals.
beat the Panthers.
Well, look,
their
they may
first
not
win.
even get in the playoffs. I'm just saying, if they play Buffalo in the playoff game, I would take the Bengals.
You would?
Yeah, right now is how I feel.
In Buffalo?
They beat them in Buffalo a couple years ago.
And that's the only weird thing about the Bills never getting blown out. It is crazy to go 44 regular season games without losing by more than 6. In the middle of that is a 17-point home playoff loss to Cincinnati. But it was, that's not the stat.
Okay. Good news, bad news for the Chiefs. Still undefeated. Kelsey reappeared. It looks like Rashee Rice might be out for the year. We don't have definitive news on that yet. It's the latest tough injury. Hollywood Brown hasn't played yet. Pacheco's still recovering from a broken leg. Now, in the Chiefs' last 10 games, this is including the playoffs, they're 10-0. The interesting thing here is it's the smallest point differential for a 10-0 team of all time.
You know the second smallest?
I'm going to guess also the Chiefs?
2020 Chiefs, 84 points.
So it's either like you're squeaking by or you know how to win.
Yeah.
But with all these injuries, are the Chiefs in trouble?
I'll answer that in a second.
Okay.
First, I want to say this. Yeah, they've been close games. They also are against literally the best the league has to offer. The 10-game winning streak, who are the best teams in the AFC North? The Bills and the Dolphins, the last few years.
East, yeah.
That's two, or AFC East, pardon me. That's twice. AFC North, Ravens and Bengals typically, 4 of the wins are against them. The AFC West, other than the Chiefs, the Chargers, 2 of the wins are against them. What about the whole NFC conference? Well, the defending champion is the Niners. 1 of the wins is against them, and then a win against the Falcons. So 9 of the 10. So that's first thing. Second thing is, because once again, a Chiefs game was all but ended by the closer. And the closer in this league is Chris Jones. And I would like to show you this play, and then I would like to give you a stat that is not true technically, but I feel like it is. I don't know how many career sacks Chris Jones has in the first quarter on first down, but I'm going to guess it's 0. And I watch all these D linemen across the league, like Nicky Bosa, who's awesome. Yesterday, it's like, oh, backup tackle, overmatched team. Here's a third of my sacks for the year. I watched Aiden Hutchinson do it. I watched Myles Garrett do it his whole career. I watched this guy just take those games off because they're going to win anyway. And then in the biggest spots, in the biggest moments to win conference championship games, Super Bowls, and big games, he comes through. So I got a banner for Chris Jones because we never talk about him. Better than your favorite D lineman. I don't care who he is.
I think that's fair.
Now to the Chiefs as a whole. Here's what we know. Without their number 1 receiver, without their number 2 receiver, without their number 1 running back, their left tackle's been benched, their tight end, Wilds put him on watch, and Todd McShay said, out of shape, doesn't even care about football anymore. So, here's the depth chart right now. The running back depth chart is a guy who the Cleveland Browns, who are terrible, cut. A guy who the Denver Broncos, who are terrible, cut. An undrafted free agent whose own family was like not making the league. That's the running back room. The wide receiver room is now a rookie, skinnier than me.
Yeah.
A guy, the New York Jets, who are terrible, cut. A guy, the New England Patriots, who are terrible, cut. And a guy who's 28 years old who went to Penn who brew mocks because of that. So if those are the weapons
psychology
that Patrick Mahomes has to work with, and they end up pulling off the first three-peat ever in that context, then this is banner number 2.
Oh, wow.
It's the fastest GOAT debate ever. Because if under these circumstances, with this team, with a washed-watch tight end, with nothing but undrafted and cut players and a 160-pound rookie wide receiver, they become the first team ever to win 3 straight Super Bowls,
impressive.
Then that will be conventional wisdom. So do I think they're in trouble? No, I don't. Do I think there's going to be a lot of shows where like, man, that Chiefs game sure was ugly that they won? Yeah, I do. But no, I don't think they're in trouble.
I hate to spoil the heated, animated, back and forth.
Yeah.
You're wrong. Nick's right. I mean, if last year, when they lost 5 out of 8 games in one stretch, when they led the league in drops, when they didn't have home field advantage through the AFC playoffs, and they still won the Super Bowl, they're not in trouble as long as he and Travis Kelce are on the roster. Anybody outside of those 3, as you're right, as great as Jones is, they might be able to survive that because obviously defense is carrying.
I think they have to have. I think you said the 3 guys they have to have.
You cannot count them. Yesterday, all right, without Rasheed Wright, he went down in the first quarter, and they were down 7-0, down 10-0 by the time they got the ball back, right? And they outscored them. They outscored one of the best defensive teams so far in the league.
Still the number
that was
one
only allowing 12 points a game.
Yep.
Outscored them 17-0 the rest of the way. Without Pacheco, Isaiah Pacheco, the running back, without obviously Rasheed Rice, it's just Mahomes just gets it done. The defense is great, but the offense just does whatever it has to do to win. And so, no, they're not in trouble. Now, I do think Kelsey, Nick, I know you think he's kind of been pacing himself. I don't know that he's not going to be able to pace himself until I think they'll make a trade. They have the last 2 years for a receiver before the deadline. Could be Amari Cooper, DeAndre Hopkins. They had talked about him as a free agent. So one of those guys will help. But until then, Kelsey's going to have to be Kelsey, or at least close. Do what he did yesterday. And Xavier Worthy, I think, is going to have to become more than kind of a gadget, big play guy. Or at least they're going to need more big plays. Yeah. And so,
they did go to Xavier on the game's clinching offensive play. The play they tried to go to him to last week, and they didn't have it right. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.